Welcome back to the North American Regional Qualifier and Game 3 of Cloud9 versus Gravity. You're getting a look at Cloud9 just a few minutes ago, strategizing and looking to get a win to keep this series alive. And gentlemen, I'm going to start with you, Jat. What do they need to do in order to get that win?
Yeah, I think for Cloud9, they need to diversify the way in which they can win the game, because the only way they've been able to win these games is if High lands a beautiful ultimate on everyone, because the playmaking potential from the rest of the team, you look at that composition, Lulu top lane, Trist and Karma in the bottom lane, it's just High. Whereas on Gravity, they have 4 to 5 people who are capable of making a play, and that diversification is allowing them to come out on top. So I want to see some more champions who can create action on Cloud9's side.
Yeah, and some of the champions that you can pull out is I want to see Balls on Amor. If you want to stick with the Rumble, I think that's fine. Then we just need some more engaged potential on Lemonation, so he shifts away from this Karma. Other than that, I think he can easily just fall back to playing Maokai if Lemonation want to stick on these backline supports. And then I want to see High change up his jungle pick. I'm not too sure about the Mumu. I think he can easily pull off like Echo, Elise, Rek'Sai, maybe even taking away the Gragas, which move has been looking very good on. So some kind of change has to be made, I think. And yeah.
What happened to Incarnation's Orianna? He played it 4 out of the last 5 regular season games. He's one of his best champions.
I absolutely agree. And you know, you guys talk about how C9 are making some mistakes, and Incarnation, of course, is doing pretty well. But on the Gravity side of things, honestly, there's 2 guys that I want to point out for big props. So one is Keen. Keen, you know, we typically call him, oh, you know, he's a big counter picker. He plays the Urgot. He's this weird guy, and his matchups are good. He's playing Victor, who's like the most basic mid laner, like the most normal mid laner out here right now, and he's crushing on it. He's doing such an amazing job of being the big damage contributor, the big carry, and him being on a damage champion allows his comp to work because they're playing Ashe for the extra engage. It's a very big puzzle piece here. The other guy to talk about is Move in the jungle. He's at least somewhat back here. Yes, there's some mistakes by C9, but he's winning the vision game, he's winning the control game, he's getting Keen through a good laning phase against a pretty strong Incarnation, and he's being a big frontline tank setting up fights. And look, this is Gravity kind of playing the way Gravity used to play and used to win.
You're going to say at the beginning of the day, Trashy, you said a lot of this is going to hinge on whether or not it's the mid-season move or the late-season move, trending towards that mid-season move. So it's definitely looking in favor.
I think we're like in between right now. But he's shifting towards the middle season.
Mid-season move was very aggressive early game, and it feels like they're like, okay, we're making miscommunications, we're going the wrong place because of the language barrier. Let's play it a little bit more reserved. Gravity playing a bit slower early game, but that same vision control is there. The low deaths are back. The control is there. Bunny's shot calling is there. So they're finding some form to return to.
Yeah, and it's working for them. Well, the teams are just about ready to hit champion select, so let's pass it off to our casters after Haunter explains the importance of adapting to the ever-changing meta.
The patches are really important because, like, it depends on how much you prep for a certain pick and, like, certain champion pools. If you can't adapt to the best champions in that patch, then you're always going to be behind. You have to, like, force out bans, stuff like that. They'll put you behind when you don't need to be behind. So I think right now we have a really good grasp on the meta and how we're supposed to play and what we're supposed to pick.
It's been showing in their last few games. I think the grasp they have on these games, though, is to fundamentals, let the other team almost out-meta themselves, pick around, and let them make the mistakes in champion select. Because it's been Cloud9 trying to go outside the box here.
That's true. And Gravity was the team that was always, instead of adapting to the meta, they were like, okay, what's anti-meta? What counters what's currently popular? Now they're fully embracing it and saying, this is extremely powerful. Let's just play standard and let's win that way. And it's been working out for them in this series so far.
Oh, go ahead.
They've had control of most of the games. Their warding, despite picks and all of that, their warding has been amazing this entire series.
I'm glad you said that, because that was my next point. Is
we're
hardly talking. Well, that's not. But we're hardly talking about Bunny Fufu. His plays last game on Alistar, his Braum play as well has been on point, making sure that Altec has the room he needs and the engages that the team needs when they're coming in. So Bunny Fufu really stepping up in these games with the rest of the team. Picks and bans across the board again. We see that Lulu get locked back in by Cloud9. Remember, we are not changing sides, but the Azir comes out second for Gravity. We'll see what they now put in for 3, as that was that spot for Azir the last 2 games.
Yeah, they're thinking about what that last ban is going to be here coming into this.
Fizz
Still Fizz.
All right, yeah.
Exact same bans, all 3 games for Gravity so far. The first pick of Braum coming out for Lemonation this game. Good. Gives him engage, gives him disengage, gives him skirmish power. Great support to pick up and take it away from Bunny Fufu. Now he has Thresh, Janna, and also, of course, the Alistar to fall back on here for himself.
Yeah, there actually is still quite a bit for Bunny Fufu. That does not change, however. It doesn't surprise me either. Ash and Gragas instantly picked up once again. Deja vu here for Gravity as their lock-in picks 1 and 2 for themselves.
Gravity having red side is actually turning out to be huge, not because of counter pick, but because they get the first 2 combo picks together. You could take away Ash, they'll still get Gragas. You take away Gragas, they'll get Ash and they'll get something else. This is what they're putting their priority on, is getting their core engaged champions very early on in the draft.
That's almost the strategy in itself. You know Gravity to be the team to use a bunch of flex picks, but they come in, they play a very fundamental pick and ban strategy, and you almost outguess yourself.
It's true. Get your core, then counter your other picks.
Right. It's not just about the counter here for Gravity. They're getting what they want all along the way. Cloud9 definitely running out the time on this one. High and Lemon, or Incarnation, I should say, to lock something in. Does High go back to the Shyvana? He does. And that's going to be a Varus. Does it stick with Incarnation? We go to Sneaky. We've only seen a few AD carry Varuses throughout this season anyway.
It's true. It's most likely going to be for Incarnation in the mid lane.
For sure.
He was playing champions that were more assassin fightery. Now he has a poke pattern. You also have Braum on your team.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got the wall as well.
So it's going to be on Gravity for most of these engages. The thing, though, is the dyssynergy here is a little concerning. Varus combined with this Shyvana, not always the greatest, but still, you do have counter-engage potential here. So you're waiting for them to come into your hands, pending what their top lane pick ends up being.
3 in a row, is it? It would just be such an easy pick for Keen here. Keep the consistency going. Polebelter had no problem with it with Counter Logic Gaming versus Team Solo Mid, and we'll see if Keen locks that in for himself. Still looking as well for what support that Gravity is going to use here. He said Alistar is still up, Janna, Thresh, whatever you want. Pick of the litter.
They might just go for the exact same team composition as before.
That'd be Gnar, right?
Gnar would be their final pick. Oh, man. Gravity, I love this, though, because you aren't being forced to change and adapt, so you don't have to do it. And it will, it will most likely be a Gnar here for Hauntzer, but that means it is going to be Orianna for Incarnation, and Sneaky's going to be the one playing the Varus AD carry into the Ashe. So this gives you pick potential and kill pressure on the Ashe. You poke her over and over again in lane.
Right.
And you have linear wave clear, whereas Ashe struggles a little bit to wave clear sometimes during points of the game. And if you can catch her, you both have kill potential on each other. It's a crazy matchup.
Also been a fan of Incarnation's recent Orianna play as well, so that can definitely, we've seen him get out of 2v1 situations in the mid. He almost did it last game as well, playing a bit of that Yasuo diving around, so Incarnation should feel very comfortable on that Ori pick with it happening at least 2 or 3 times. Actually, the last 3 games they played, CLG, TDK, TSM, were all Orianna games, so.
Yeah, he actually
no stranger.
He played it 4 out of their last 5 games in the regular split.
Oh, that's right. Right before the Ori game, there's another one. He knows what he's doing. That Gnar as well. He's picked up.
He's 2-2 on it, though. 2 wins, 2 losses.
He might actually go as well for a bit of the safety play. Cleanse on Orianna towards the mid lane, unless he changes that. Looks like Altec may be hovering Cleanse as well for his Ashe throughout this game. There's going to be quite a bit of lockdown he will see from Braum, Maokai.
I think Altec also
that corrupt chain.
Yeah, that's true. The chain of corruption is what he wants to cleanse off. But Altec also brought cleanse game 1.
That's true.
Even though he was playing Ashe. Just because Ashe has low mobility, he wants to be able to get out of the CCs that do hit him.
Yep.
Incarnation as well. Looks like he's hovering the cleanse for himself. Make sure that he doesn't get hit by an arrow, that he ends up killing him. But Incarnation on this Orianna, he's played it 4 out of the 5 games, their last in the regular split. 2-2, but he's 17, 7, and 34 on it in those games. So really good KDA on him.
Able to play it safe in the mid lane. It's kind of what mid has been reverting to. Not for these games. We've seen a lot of aggression here, so we'll see if both mid laners can handle that. And could it be the final steps here for Bubba Dub and Cop to make their way to the stage? Gravity looking very good in this series and could possibly knock out Cloud9 for the first time at a shot at Worlds. This is not something they've experienced. The weight of each game has gotten heavier due to that fact, due to the result that they're looking for here. Remember to keep updating your series predictions by tweeting at LOL Esports and the hashtag C9win or GVwin for whoever you're rooting for. Right now, the Gravity fans very happy as they're looking at game point. Cloud9 looking to keep themselves alive in the gauntlet. The North American Regionals going into game 3 now. Cloud9 versus Gravity as we get onto the Rift.
And match point for Gravity. They need one more to move on and face TIP, which is just tomorrow. So they have another BO5 ahead of them if they win this game. Though, Cloud9 goes back to some comfort here for High. It's not the Amumu, it's the Shyvana. He's going to have... Here's the thing with Shyvana, is she has a mixture of pressure. She's extremely good mid-late game once she gets State Devourer completed, but he brought Exhaust, so his early game pressure and his ganking is actually rather good. His dueling potential as well. He'd be able to take on most people in this game one-on-one if he gets to them.
Yep. See if he goes aggressive. Similar comp was run versus Team Solo Mid in Week 9. They had a Tristana. They still had the Karma. But they were working that Orianna. They were working the Shyvana. And they were very aggressive all game. I think that was a pretty big surprise to see what C9 did in that Week 9 game against Team Solo Mid. So might get a bit of view of that again here if High can get a Shyvana going early.
He's 2-0 on Shyvana the split. Very successful on that champion, even though nobody else in North American LCS has found success like he has on that champion. I do like the Maokai pickup for balls. This was something that Cloud9, when they were in pick and bans with Charlie even, they always wanted to have balls on that Maokai for flank teleports, for these playmaking abilities and getting to the AD carry. Now that they have a way to get to Altec, they might find a way to shut him down. But here's the thing, is Keen has become a big threat in this series. So Incarnation back on this Orianna for comfort seems to be the way to go. They have Wombo still. Send High in with the ball on him. Great. Get that combination off, win a late game team fight. That's what they're looking for again. Honestly, lower ceiling of execution for this Wombo combo.
That's a really good point. And it's not as telegraphed. Yeah, you're going to see a dragon flying in from somewhere, right? But you're not going to sit in a giant pile for a Curse of the Sad Mummy ultimate. You know what not to do. This one can be a little bit more affected by the speed of Dissonance, diving in, Shockwave instantly.
It's not as telegraphed, too.
Exactly.
Even if Incarnation wants to, he can just manually put the ball in there. He has another option with balls.
That's true.
So there's a lot more avenues. It's not as linear in terms of what it's going to do.
We just had the back there from balls on the top side. You can see High still kind of tearing apart the Raptor camp of Move as they trade CS back and forth in their jungles. We're going to get that matchup. See Lemon Nation making sure that he doesn't find anybody else lingering in the jungle. And they know that Move has returned to his side. He'll meet up with balls in that bot lane. A good push here by Sneaky towards that top side. Only up a few CS.
They're double jungling at the moment with Hauntzer, so now he's going to TP up to the top lane finally, and they also are bringing Bunny Fufu up into the top lane, so it's actually going to be a 2-on-1 against Sneaky.
Shouldn't be too bad. Able to keep a bit of range versus Hauntzer and Bunny Fufu's Alistar.
This does put a lot of pressure onto Sneaky though, because there's always kill pressure when the Alistar jumps in. He's already level 2, so Bunny Fufu can get in there, and then Hauntzer will just be able to follow up.
Yeah. He doesn't have his rocket jump to get away this time. He's on that Varus. Altec in the bot lane, playing it calm and collected here. Doesn't need to blow a flash to get out of that.
You also have to watch out for this too, but Altec did bring Cleanse to the table, so if you get stunned by Elimination or Balls using the Twisted Advance, you'll have a way to get out of it. Honestly, these AD carriers are probably going to have bad times in these lane swaps. This is like a top laner's dream right now. Usually when you're in a lane swap, you're sitting there going, man, I'm getting starved. But now it's like, nah, 80 carries. That's your turn. You'll still have some ranged wave clear with the Varus, though. He will pick up some of the CS with his Piercing Arrow.
How can't he hear that? It's terrible.
It's not how brush work. The soundproof brush.
Gotta have it. Very expensive. 4 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock. Looks like just a little bit of back and forth. No real kill pressure from the lanes here, but Ball's doing his damnedest to try and at least push Altec out of lane. He's already got him to chug his potion, but he's easily able to farm just in front of his own turret. 26-23 as the AD carries trying to having a heyday here in their own lane, farming away.
You see Bunny Fufu bring himself back down to the bottom lane. Realize he's not going to be able to zone out Sneaky as much as he wanted to. And Hauntzer is actually behind in CS. He's almost half of balls at this point. And now he's going to be soloing up against Sneaky. Oh.
Kyle's roaming on the farm. Found him. Oh, got the Raptor buff.
Oh, he doesn't clear it.
That's rough. That's rough. So they won't be able to use that. Kind of important in the early game if you're able to get over a ward for a quick gank. Resources aren't as easy to come by with wards. You're not going back as often. So having that Raptor buff go away that easily is unfortunate for High. So Still able to make some plays if he can take Gravity off guard here. But it does not look like they're in position. Sneaky Elimination pushing up to get a bit of damage on the turret, as well as harass Haunter during the CS. A very deep pink ward was actually placed in that endeavor there by Bunny Fufu, so they should have some good vision deep in the map for a while now.
High coming up to the top lane. This is how he'll apply some early pressure. Run across the map, help them take a turret. 3-on-2. They know that Bunny Fufu's bot lane, so just get the turret. Hit it.
Get a bite.
Up, give it a Q.
Yep, give it a quick bite. Good movement by Move in the lane to make sure nothing goes too bad for the team. Ball's using everything he can in front of the turret to farm it out here. Should see him going back quite soon with his teleport almost ready. And we'll see what he decides to come back to lane with. Haunter on that Gnar once again. Almost the entire team on the champions they had last time.
Oh!
Well, actually, yeah,
Brom's a little thinner than he looks. He's got small legs.
It's all upper body.
Yeah, no leg day for that guy.
You're carrying that shield all the time. I think every day is almost a leg day. Apparently, it just doesn't work that way with Brom.
He carries it with his upper body somehow. It just doesn't translate down. I don't understand it.
I get it. It's got its own gravitational field. It pulls up from that point.
There you go.
7 minutes here. Still waiting for first blood to come out. That's going to be the shockwave. He brought Cleanse to the table. Remember, that's not an ignite. The kill pressure's gone with the shield on Keen. And the heal from Keen as well, allowing him to get a little bit fatter in that fight and keep himself alive. No engage from the junglers there. That might be the pressure in the bottom. Can he not breathe fire into the brush in time? So it's just going to be a wave clear.
Yep, the heal came out from Keen, so Incarnation ends up winning that trade ever so slightly. They both have consumables, though, so they can stay in this lane as long as they like. Move, though, once again, looking to make some type of play all across the map. Move will just look at these brushes.
Yeah.
He'll walk in, and then he'll sit there waiting for a play for it to present itself, and he gives you like a 30-second window. He's a very generous jungler.
That's so true. That's a really good point.
He's still there.
He's still there.
There we go.
Now he's
He's like, you had your 30
But he's
seconds.
going to come back.
No. He's just checking the brush
Nice
rewards.
clear by High. That pink ward giving them way too much
High's
vision.
26.
But he has to expect now
Oh, Keen's coming down
that
too.
this is going to be pressure in the jungle. Too much invisibility on the members of Gravity right now. And with Keen moving out of lane, there's going to be pressure here from Incarnation. The red gets stolen, and High's jungle starts to get affected a little bit here as Gravity moves pink wards forward. It's already 8 minutes into the game.
Good combination there between Keen and Move to actually apply that pressure. Keen had continually shoved out the mid lane, so they had the opportunity. Looks like he's going bot. Oh!
Okay, fancy fingers. Altec trying to go for the kill himself. You can see Move was just ready on the top side there.
Oh, he'll give him a little more time. He's okay. He'll hang out. Dragon might be in their sights here. They see Bunny Fufu and Move both hanging out together. They might also look for a mid lane gank. Bunny Fufu can go and get deeper wards because he has some in his inventory. But aside from that, they look for these opportunities where they hang around. That's already warded. All right, double vision. Just make sure if it gets cleared, the pink ward ends up gone. Good.
Blue buff to Keen. He can stay in the mid lane right now. Look and see what that gold difference is. Keen's actually sitting on 1,100 gold. At about 150 gold lead right now on Incarnation altogether. Coming up on 10 minutes, but still very close. Keen with that blue buff though.
Yeah,
clear on lane. Looks like he'll just go back to buy here. Yeah. Charge up.
Spend 1,000 gold on the second upgrade.
Yep.
Freak actually, when I was looking at how to remember what the Victor upgrades are, it's like, I know what one looks like, and I know that the last one is red. He's like, oh yeah, it's number 2 is blue.
Number 2 is blue. Good guy, Freak.
That's how I always remember it now.
At least it wasn't a pun.
It was a memorization technique, and it was actually helpful.
It didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt me. It helped me.
Haunter almost getting Narbar at the right time, but it would have been for not High coming up. It looks like they actually could get a kill here on him. He has Dragon's Descent. Narbar's going to be halfway through here.
He has Exhaust,
the bite's
too.
going to help. Getting a little bit of percent damage in there. He's going to dive through this one. Oh, no, he holds back. They don't have enough vision. They say the turret's enough. If he comes back, we'll get the kill anyways, but little do they know, they probably could have gotten that one for themselves. Blue buff now onto Incarnation. Flashes the command shockwave, and Incarnation now in a sore spot for that fight as Move comes in off the wing. Incarnation in a safe spot, though.
Yeah, both flash is used there in the mid lane. Both ultimates, both mid laners going at it, trying to get some advantage from each other. Oh, hit Bunny Fufu. He's
Chain
not
of
6.
Corruption, body slam for Move to come down the river. They're going to get a kill here onto Bunny Fufu. He used the exhaust.
Flash.
They're going to be all right. Are they going to walk into Move and Keen, though? They're still going to go for the fight.
Whoa.
Keen's right there on the backside. There had to be a call from Incarnation on this one, but they still wanted the fight. Move could be able to take down Lemonation here. That's the ulti. One more body slam in. Haunter with the house. They're going to try to jump in. Move picks it up with a big belly slam, and they're going to be able to get out here. Haunter, very low. Going to go down, even with the summoner heal of Keen to come in for the help. A little too hyphy on the play. And Sneaky gives out a bit of a dance.
Oh, and that's a 2,000 gold lead for Cloud9 off of the CS and the turret lead so far. Oh, man. Jumping in. Whew. All right.
I got this. No, I got this.
Everybody needs to calm down.
Oh.
Ball's just walking by Move, walking by Agragas. Your backline's not going to be able to help you if their frontline walks into your backline.
That was an interesting fight. They were dead on just doing anything, no matter what, to get that fight going.
There's a great start to this fight. They get Bunny Fufu pretty much scot-free, get him when he's not 6. And then Balls had flash. If Balls was fast enough, he could have flash twisted advances over the arrow. And then right here, he just keeps going. There's a TP behind you guys. Haunter comes in from behind, helps them pick up elimination here. And Balls, just without regard for Move and the TP coming in, just tunnel vision. That is pretty much textbook tunnel vision right there.
Oh, okay, I see.
Flashback in front of the wall up. Oh, no.
He was already Winters, got the concussive blows onto the turret as well, so you were stacking up turret damage. And an Essence Reaver for Sneaky. All right, we just picked that up. Went back 2-0 for his Varus.
Very mana hungry. If you aren't going to go for the Mana Mune, I can understand the pickup there. And you're just poking. You don't really need that much crit because you're not autoing that often.
Right. High is going to be doing a bunch of damage as well. You're facilitating from the back line. Hopefully, Gravity does not get too much of a lead to start stacking all their armor once again. It'll be like hitting brick walls for Sneaky if they can get that far ahead. Cloud9 with their first big lead in a game, though, here. High looking to get out of a bad situation.
Haunter goes. Oh, hello!
Haunter is going to follow. They have vision there. They knew it was a double. That ward is there, and he is going to go down. Keen actually still wants to fight. Move coming up from the bottom. Incarnation is not warded on his venture up to the top side. Ultec fight in the bottom lane as well.
Oh, he's going
to go down. It is going to be a draw there as the cow comes up with the kill, and it looks like they are still fighting. That fight went so bad for them with the rotation of Incarnation from the mid lane. Gravity wanted it, and Cloud9 got it. Wanted it even more.
Cloud9 need every fight to keep their world's dream alive, and they get that one all across the map. Victories for Cloud9.
Ridiculous reasons for why these guys are deciding to get into these fights. The vision is almost lacking on both sides. One ward is really making this the advantage for either team, and Cloud9 got a very big advantage out of just a few wards on the top side of the map.
It's funny because we're calling it a large advantage, but it's a 4 for 3 at the end of the day.
That's true.
What Cloud9
overall,
was picking up.
It's the steps they've been taking that are catapulting them right now. This in the bot lane, though. This is why you fight to your death. Fight valiantly.
At this point, it's like, don't misclick the Alistar. Don't misclick him.
Absolutely. You're trying to body block. Can't use a click. You have to make sure you're getting those right clicks in. So it makes it a little bit tougher. But still, like you said, fights across the board. Now it's going to be 23,000 to 19.5. Cloud9 finally, as I said, with that first lead. How do they pressure it? See where they go from here. It's going to be the bot lane. They have mid to open up after this. And remember the wards that Gravity placed a bit ago, those two pinks, they're still refreshing them, refueling behind Dragon and up above that area. Make sure they can keep themselves in here if they need be.
Yeah, this has not been an extremely Gravity-dominant Vision game.
No.
Cloud9 is keeping up in the Vision game this game, which is refreshing compared to the last 2 games for them. They're falling behind in that, as well as their early pressure. This is a game where they have a gold lead off of early skirmishes, early pressure, and forcing Gravity's hand.
Actually looking good for High right now. We see that Cutlass on him. I'm going to click over and see where he's at. 15 stacks on power. Halfway there, yep. You see him going into the jungle.
He's also 1,300 gold up.
Getting everything, yeah, overall. Just from very big. 70 CS. He's definitely making sure he's hitting a good clip here. This could be an overall engage. Gravity decides not to stay, though. Very smart choices. The turret goes down. They are here to hold the second turret. Hanser is floating right around Narbar, and his TP is just about to be up, so they may try to use something here if they don't go too hard in the top lane.
There's also Hanser losing top lane for the first time in the series. He's had CS advantages both times, able to get himself the very early Hex Drinker. This matchup, you don't want a Hex Drinker. He's going for the Black Cleaver, a little more expensive. But oh man, he's down 50 CS. Was not doing well in the lane swap at the very beginning. Yeah. He was down 12 CS at the very beginning of the game off the lane swap.
Oof. Essence Reaver still bringing through a bit of damage. Alltech definitely is feeling that effect. His Infinity Edge looks like it's about to be finished. He throws that in as well. So completed for him. He'll have a bit more impact in this fight. Balls might have been looking for this fight here. Definitely knows the team has the upper hand towards the top side of the map, and he won't take much more than that. So he gets the bar out of Hanser. They don't have a minion wave to keep pressuring that, though. Cloud9 is really on the hunt for picks right now. High just went back and forth through that jungle 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, if High's able to get Blade of the Ruined King and the Sated Devourer and start getting half of a tank item, that's pretty much the Shyvana dream if the game is not already out of hand. Well, Shyvana dream is actually you get 10 kills in the first few minutes, but still, this is...
10 sounds... 10 is a good clip. I like that.
Yeah. So that's when you have those items and you already say Devourer and it's 10 minutes in.
You know those 9-0 games when you feel all right, but you get a 10-kill game, you feel, that's the game right there. That's S++. That's what you're feeling. 1 minute on to Dragon. Actually haven't had too much action around this side of the map this game. Usually we saw a lot more for move. The lane swap obviously contributing to that action, not being seen down here. Looks like they want to give it some love now. The wards are being placed. Gravity not as soon with their wards, not as early I should say. Definitely having to move in with Cloud9 already knowing they're being placed, so might not be as effective this time.
All the members of Cloud9 are actually very high up in gold. High is 100 gold away from being the richest member in the game.
Yeah.
He's right behind Balls. Sneaky is right behind him by about 30 gold. So they're all very neck and neck, but then everybody has about a 400 to 1,000, even more than 1,000 gold lead over their lane opponent. So Cloud9 across the board are CSing very well, but they're also getting these advantages from turrets that are falling into their pockets.
Yep. Gold as well onto the AD carries. Sneaky 2-1-1, still going for Brutalizer, not still, but now going for Brutalizer after that Essence Reaver.
Not typical AD carry build, he's going for the CDR. I wouldn't be
almost
surprised
like
if he goes for cooldown reduction boots.
The old Legolas.
Yes, the Last Whisper.
Last Whisper as well, and all that pen you can get. See where he goes. Still foregoing the boots right now. Hasn't had a chance to build into that, recipeing up his items, but has been effective hitting the arrows from the back line. We haven't really seen it too much in a fight. The Chain of Corruption has caused Alltech to use that cleanse a few times. But not everybody can cleanse, so we'll have to see what type of chaos that creates once Cloud9 gets into this skirmish. High already going to take down Dragon. Much more control from High in these games. This is not a sit back and charger Amumu. This is let High take charge on Shyvana.
18.5 minutes in, Blade of the Ruined King, Sated Devourer for Shyvana. He's ready to roll more than twice the CS, and he is now officially the richest person in the game.
And what's the best direction to roll? What do they look for now? How do they use the comp at this point?
Well, at this point, you just want to split push as much as possible, look for these opportunities, ward up the inside of their jungle, and go between areas looking for fights.
Right now, from top to mid, mid to bottom, they might be able to stretch him a little thin right here. Incarnation on one side.
Ooh, you knock him in!
Oh, right onto Sneaky, and it was anything but that. They read him completely. He also used heal, but was thrown right into the turret.
Who's up for some pinball? That was, for some reason, I feel like playing pinball right now.
That was a bit of
jealous
tilt.
Of gravity.
That was a tilt.
Oh.
That was a tilt. No, just kidding.
Right into the team. He was still charging his Q. He had flash available as well.
High is being a monster. They're losing Sneaky and they're losing things, but High was just top, just stole red. Now he's blue. He's going to steal that. Harder for Keen to start clearing. Still okay for Alltech and the rest of the team to get barrels and volleys out, so it won't be too hard. But he is doing everything that the team can't as a team, all by himself.
Yeah, it definitely
doesn't want to draw too much attention.
Yeah, that's true. It definitely puts a damper on your strategy moving forward when you lose Sneaky.
That's true.
You want Balls to
You're always
push
trying
top.
to patch things up.
Exactly. You want to push top with Balls. You want to be able to push his advantage, and then you also want to ward up the jungle, and then even if they push you off the points, Balls always has TP flank available to him with his Righteous Glory to come from behind. If he's able to get onto Altec and lock him up for any period of time, then there's a great follow-up here from Cloud9. You have people jump in, somebody's out of position for 1 second. That's all it takes for Incarnation to get the shockwave.
Yep. And look at what we get out of Hanser this game. We were talking about those hard damage games. Black Cleaver this time was completely defensive last time. Thornmail and other items to boot to just make him a huge tank. Looks like he wants to be participating a little bit more. At 6-6, it's definitely going to need it. Gravity had a lead in the majority of their first 2 games here by at least 2K gold, and they're down one of the biggest leads we've seen in this whole series.
4,000 gold lead, biggest lead of the series, right?
Yeah.
Going back and forth.
Pretty crazy.
These games have been very back and forth, and then when they end on a dime. They end off of a team fight.
So true. Gotta be ready for it.
Yep, and speaking of being ready for it, Sneaky, early Yomu's Ghost Blade here. Spooky knife for him.
Spooky. Didn't go Yomu's.
Give him some extra movement speed, that burst, so that he can get out of these places. Also, gives him that armor penetration, the cooldown reduction, and on top of all that, attack speed.
Trying to hit Hanser up in ways of HP here, hoping he can get out of the situation healthier, but it doesn't look like the team is trying to work any sort of teleports off of this just yet. He does get Hanser pretty low. Looks like he should be able to, or have to back here.
Balls has a good advantage coming into this lane. First time he's had top lane priority and TP. TP positioning, so he can actually get an advantage over Hanser. Keep trading with him, you have your ultimate up, slowly shove him down the lane.
That's true. Seems the fall back to Maokai really worked for him. That's what we saw at the end of the season for Cloud9 as well. A very consistent player in that top lane, but wasn't coming out with too much damage.
Yeah.
So back on the Maokai. I mean, the Rumble actually faltered a little bit in game as well.
Yeah, this had not been a stellar split for Balls by any means. Honestly, this is his worst split to date.
Yeah.
He's always been a very dominant force in the top lane. And now as the meta even shifted in favor of top laners having more choices, top laners being very dependent on their TP to actually make plays and have team fights.
Right.
Balls fell off of people's lists of top laners in North America. We had people like Impact, like we had other people.
Whoa!
Hanser was even in
Hot damn!
That man, that's it right there.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's all right. That's the Shyvana dream. The dream is real. He's got the 2 items.
Oh my word!
It's only 22 minutes in, and he's got a giant spell. He's got half of his defensive item ready.
Man.
So you're no longer worried about being extremely squishy. Plus, you get those bonus resistances from just being Dragon.
All right, I think Bunny Fufu is going to second guess going back into the jungle by himself. Even the ward is enough to practically take him down to half HP. Now Triumphant Roaring back to HP now. Trying to get to full. See where the ultimate stand for everybody. Move is actually level 10. 11 would be huge for him. High has actually already hit that.
He's hit 13.
He is 13. That looks like a 1-1 on my screen. So move is now 11 though, but yeah, that just shows how far ahead High is. 141 to 55 CS. Move isn't getting a chance to have those actions happen in the lane that got Altec going in the beginning, that helped out a little bit before. Even though he was missing a few of those ults, he was always creating pressure against Cloud9, and they've had a bit of free roam this game, especially High.
These last few minutes, though, people are just playing the ward game back and forth, the push and pull. Nobody's been trying to force anything. Everybody just seems okay with farming up for item breakpoints. There hasn't even been a siege either. Sneaky was caught out of position, and then they decided not to go with that strategy again.
Yeah.
Dragon or Baron control seems to be what's coming in for Cloud9 next. And I like that because you have the Varus, you have the poke advantage. Who's going to poke you back on this Gravity squad?
Very true. You took the Braum in the beginning as well, so that poke is going to stick. It's not just going to get ricocheted off to the wayside. 3 pink wards against 3 pink wards in the inventories. You can see the teams aren't sure enough to put these down yet, though, or move their wards forward, holding the ones that they have so far. And more vision for Gravity here. They want to make sure if some of those are cleared, they still have the victory. And there it is. They lost pink, but they still have vision, making sure they're 1 step ahead.
Still on a ward, though.
Who's going to test the waters? I don't know. High is going to hatch that thing before he finds anything else. He's back. Must have figured he knew he was on a ward. The way that Bunny Fufu actually is playing that a little bit would tell them. Rotation up from Hanser. No teleport going to be necessary there. Dragon is up. Doesn't look like he will do anything with that, though. They're starting to pressure the mid lane. Team's got to watch out from the top here. Very big dance going off back and forth across the map here between Gravity and Cloud9. Nobody decisive enough to make something happen, though.
But Cloud9 have absolute control of the Baron area. They swept it very diligently, and all their pink wards are down. Gravity is blind in the entire river.
For one of the first times. Gravity was able to burn one down. Will Cloud9 peel off of this one correctly? Move has the ability to get in and out here. It doesn't look like High fully wants it. Balls comes in. This is, again, a point where you engage instead of lower it for the other team. And I don't know if they fully want this. They're going to stay on it for a bit of that.
Watch
Righteous Glory goes up, goes on to Haunter. They're trying to kill him before the Narbar goes out. He's going to get it. Throw him against the wall. Keen and Altec able to fire on the backside. And right to Sneaky and Incarnation goes Bunny Fufu and Move, trying to get the DPS out of the fight. High now stuck in the middle. He'll get cleared out, but not before they can still take down Move. And it's a back and forth. Balls is going to be in the middle of the fire now. Haunter's going to heat things up with a Hyper here to keep Lemon Nation in range. And it looks like Sneaky has to run for his life. Does Haunter have the jump? He does not. And Gravity come up with the win when Cloud9 had that vision.
That was way, way, way too aggressive from Cloud9. Tunnel vision again from Balls. He jumped straight in, and he's like, I'm looking at Haunter, and I'm not changing my target. Haunter went down bottom, and then they ditched Incarnation and Sneaky. Their damage dealers were left behind, locked up, and Incarnation does not even get to ultimate in this fight. Righteous Glory gets popped when Haunter walks too far forward, and he goes right off. They're split 4-1, but they send 3 people after Haunter, and they don't even get him. Everybody gets in that little corridor, and then, it's a 4-on-2 here, and how are they even going to win this? Sneaky's immediately out of the fight because Keen put pressure on him, and then Keen walks up to Incarnation and does the same thing.
You could see almost Lemon Nation understanding what was going wrong because he wanted to follow down onto Haunter, but then Glacial Fissure completely perpendicular to make sure the backline didn't get hit.
The target selection was just way off there.
Move and Bunny Fufu went right over that Fissure and happily to the backline.
Yeah, and Haunter chose a really good route too.
He did, pull him right away from the fight. Good thinking in the chaos.
He was the carrot on the stick. Let's lead them away into a choke point. And then everybody played off to the side. And then Bunny Fufu capitalizing on the mispositioning of Incarnation and Sneaky.
Yeah.
But honestly, the mispositioning of C9's front line, leaving them exposed.
Unfortunate fight there. Cloud9 doing everything they can to make something work their way. It was the Baron pressure, in which we would have thought they'd be using Sneaky to poke at Gravity at Baron, using to whittle that down instead of take a full 100% fight.
Yeah, you are not as powerful in a 100% on fight with this Varus versus this Ashe. This Ashe, Last Whisper, Static Shiv, IE, you have the crit build going for you. You have the armor penetration. You look over what Sneaky has. He doesn't have any crit in his build save for the little bit that's on Youmuu's Ghost Blade.
Youmuu's, yep.
He doesn't even have as much AD. He's very close to. Just barely. There you go. They're very close in AD. But still, it's this Altec Ashe with all this damage coming through, and you're not using the poke pattern of your Varus.
Especially feeling comfortable on that Ashe, getting it every game, Victor every game, Gragas as well. These guys have not been deterred from the champion flow that they're used to using in this series. That only makes each game feel better here. Gravity looking to snuff out Cloud9's chances to going to Worlds for the first time here. And now, even more so than the beginning of the game, after they felt they got the champions they wanted, is weighing on them now that it's going to be a reality here, that chance is fading away. Incarnation against the wall. That's why the cleanse was brought. Chain of Corruption goes out. They don't know if they're going to be able to use that. Balls actually gets himself closer to the Maelstrom, or to the Chaos Storm, but they're still going for the fight. A great hit up on Bunny Fufu and Haunter, not allowing them to get to anybody, but still Cloud9 cannot get to their priority targets fast enough. In the backside, Altec has all the peel he wants from High. You can see High now trying to run away. On the other side, a great flash to distance himself. High still with exhaust on, able to chunk down and completely kill Bunny Fufu. This is a run here for Gravity, Altec, and Move to make sure they can keep Baron in their favor.
That is an extremely aggressive
Very low for Cloud9 to go onto this Baron.
Move low, Altec low, members of C9, pretty much everybody save for Incarnation.
Smite's still there. He's going to body slam into one of them. They're trying to put themselves in favor of that damage. Goal side, one last move on the ball. He's not able to get it. That was the command move. A kill coming in. He got Baron. It's all right. That was Braum. Lemon Nation went down. High stole Baron with Smite. Gets Baron with Smite. He didn't even need to steal it. Calm down.
Everybody had a heart attack right there.
Calm down. We're good.
Don't worry.
11-12 here. Still got a very good game. However, that was extremely close. Cloud9 is dancing on hot coals every time they step out of base right now. Looks like they've actually cooled off a bit there. Have a bit of a lead now and can start to use it. Not even many turrets have been dropped in this game. This is just volatile for champions right now.
That's true. There's still a tier 1 top available for Gravity. But since Cloud9 have had priority all over the map, they can run you around the map, force you to go to certain places, and kind of sheepdog you around.
Cloud9 keeping those hopes alive. I said that pressure was weighing on them. They lifted it pretty well right there to come out big on that fight. Seemed very, very scattered. Look at it one more time.
Balls gets chunked out here, but the double cleanse hits Incarnation, cleanse. Chain of Corruption, Altec, cleanse. Now Balls, half HP, says, oh, you already used your ultimate and your skills. Boom, deleted there. That's the perfect engage there that he wanted.
Good Glacial Fish.
If you're only going to get one person, get Keen. He's been the biggest damage dealer in this entire series for Gravity. High keeps 2-3 people busy this entire time.
That actually saved him pretty well right there, getting blown away. Move saving himself, though. Gave him distance. Look at how he just chunks down Bunny Fufu. Actually, a late exhaust there to come through. He got the bite and a bit of the damage after. So these guys getting what they want in the middle of the map. Let's see if they can get that again and have minions ready to push. Have something ready to continuously take down more.
Baron Siege, and there's the poke.
They got to use it.
C9, this is a pattern that they should have been using a while ago. When Sneaky got caught mid lane, it pretty much put them in a mindset of, okay, you know what? We're not going to do that again because Move has the potential to put Sneaky out of position.
Right.
But this is the position they need to be in to start closing out the game. High's going to try to split push here. I like this. And now Balls, they still have the Balls Incarnation combo with the Righteous Glory. They still have ways into this fight.
Well, it finally worked. It's finally working. Zyrene asked you earlier, what will they start to do now? And the thing that would make them happy is to get that split push down. They can finally start to put that on the table here. A little bit of that nuisance, the Baroned up Siege minion, just out of range of everybody. Can't attack it, can't help it attack, it's whatever. That High getting what he wanted though in the bottom lane. They're happy to sit here in mid and just survey the damage that's happening to Gravity's base. Cloud9 very much so looking to keep themselves alive here. Zeroed out with the shockwave. The ball movement was not known. Incarnation had kept it floating around for so long. Gravity lost track of it, and it was a play that's going to take them to the Nexus and keeps them alive, possibly. It's going to be 36 to 40 seconds on these deaths. Minions coming in mid lane here, and they could be onto the Nexus turrets cleanly.
Yeah, they still have Baron buff. It just wore off right now. They still have minions, though, and that's all they need to get at least one Nexus turret off of this. Hanser, though, jumps right in.
I don't know. Shyvana definitely getting some twin bites on the turrets would absolutely help. They're not focusing anymore. 15 seconds now coming up for Keen. They get one Nexus turret. Number 2 is going down, and now Cloud9 has their eyes on the prize. That's going to be the last hit. Just a tip onto Altec, and it's 16 to 12. Cloud9 keeps the dream of worlds alive. Now 2-1 versus Gravity.
Off the back of the new guy, Incarnation. 2-1-8 on this Orianna. He played it so much near the end of the split. They were questioning on the desk why he didn't go back to that champion. And when he did so much damage on it, and he was able to blow up big threats. He took Keen out of the fights, and that's what they needed to do. Keen's damage this game was nowhere near the type of damage he was doing last game because he was obliterated.
I'm really impressed that Cloud9 was able to come out and pretty much just swipe the comp that Gravity just used in gameplay. They felt incredibly comfortable on it. They were warding the same, but Cloud9 definitely had a lot of takeaways from game number 2, and they started to adapt finally, especially with changing the composition again.
Yeah, they adapted, they warded way more, and when they got a slight advantage,
that was huge.
They knew how to press that advantage, but there were some parts in the game where they had some lulls, but they didn't want to get too far away from, you know, if we mess up this game, that's our chance at Worlds gone. So now with 2-1, they might have some momentum coming into this. They win that next game. They make it a game 5 afterwards.
Absolutely crazy. I would love some Silver Scrapes, but I have to say and give credit here to High. Off the Amumu, I think it helped a little bit. Played a bit harder on the Shyvana. 209 CS to Move's 65, as well as we saw him just deleting people in 3v1s in that last fight. He came up huge this game, and this is what we saw from High when he rejoined the team, and they were kind of on that up and up.
And that's not him even being a Sightstone jungler, and the team warded better as a whole.
Yeah.
So he was able to actually just throw the Sightstone off to the side, farm like a crazy madman, and he created a large advantage for his team. End of the game, Hai has the most gold in the entire game because he's been farming so much and he's just trying to get that Sated Devourer.
He's a dragon. That's thematical. That's how you're supposed to do it. He's got to protect all of his gold.
I got you. There's no shutdown gold for killing him, though. He only had 2 kills.
That's true.
So he'll never be able to steal
That's like the best way to weigh it, right? You get it from assists, you're not going to be worth that much. Absolutely amazing. Cloud9 are now on the board, and for more on their first series win, we're going to throw it over to Dash and company on the analyst desk.
Thank you, Riv. Yep, Cloud9's on the board here. They made a lot of adaptations coming into this game. We saw the Maokai pickup that was thrown up by Trashy. We saw the Orianna pick that we wanted to see. We saw a little bit more engagement. We saw everything. Yeah, no, Freak, you failed the analyst desk.
I talked about Shyvana. I talked about him going back to his big farm level 6 bros.
There you go.
Who on Cloud9 is listening to our analyst desk segments? We're like, after the first game, it's like, well, they're probably going to drop the Lulu ban.
Yeah.
And they're like, where's the Orianna and Maokai? We didn't pick the Varus, though.
Well, we'll all put in our applications to C9 after this segment. But now that they have made these solid adaptations, the focus kind of shifts to Gravity here, which is that they played relatively the same comp 3 games in a row. Cloud9 has now found a way to beat it.
Well, it's funny because the same things were happening. You were talking about multiple points of failure, and you were talking about how Gravity have all these different ways of coming in. It was basically like Game 3 was just like Game 1 and 2, except there was more CC coming in at Cloud9. Like, we still saw Keen get isolated by someone with CC and die. The thing is, C9 now have more than one cooldown that can do that, so they did it a lot more often. And they're finding these picks a lot more often, and suddenly it works out.
Gravity has played 6 total champions across 3 games. So nothing changed, pretty much, for Gravity. Whereas Cloud9, it was a complete switch up from their game composition in Game 2. Game 2 was Hai trying to set up everything and everyone being the beneficiary of Hai's setup. This was the opposite. Everyone set up Hai, and Hai could walk in as a damage-dealing threat and be the beneficiary of the setup that he called for and the team followed. So it's the Cloud9 style, and they need to maintain something similar to this.
And one thing we saw in the game as well was that Cloud9 was playing a lot more aggressive in this game. Every lane was pushing up, which led to Hai being able to just counter jungle the Gragas, keep on pushing his CS lead, and get like a huge lead on the Shyvana. So I really like that adaptation. And just in general, I loved that they changed up and they had playmaking ability in the bot lane, they had in the top lane, and we saw what they could do with it. So
I do want to get into a little bit of minutiae here, Freak, as the resident AD carry expert.
Essence Reaver.
Essence Reaver Varus. Also, just the Varus pick in general in the bot lane, because we haven't seen him down there in a while.
So Varus, I think, was a flex pick. I actually don't like Varus that much as a blue side flex pick because you have to lock in picks 4 and 5 before the very end. So it makes it really awkward because they can just like wait on their mid laner as they did and like, okay, just kidding, it's Varus in the bot lane. So it's a little bit weird in that case. So the build is weird. First of all, Essence Reaver is not as good as you would think on Varus because you clear with spells so much that you don't auto-attack very much compared to like a Sivir where you're actually going to get Essence Reaver mana back. And we saw in actually one of the bad Baron fights, he oomed, compared to what Amani Minu would do. However, why Essence Reaver is okay here is it costs less, gives the same attack damage as a Bloodthirster. But, okay, it's a little bit less lifesteal, a little bit less of a shield, but you're Varus, who cares? You just have more offensive stats for less gold, and you get to progress into your build. So as an offensive purchase, for the sake of being an auto-attack focused champion, it actually works out pretty well.
And when compared to the Manamune, it's a much earlier power spike.
Yeah.
So it definitely has its pros.
Yeah. Not sure if they utilized their earlier spike. We actually saw in the game that I would have liked C9 to push more their lead in terms of vision, and then look for like flank plays with Maokai when they had these power spikes. They played a little too passive, in my opinion, but in the end, it turned out well for them. So, yeah.
Well, that is a good point, though. Maybe a little bit of nerves there coming into possible match point against Gravity, even with their 4K gold lead, doing a bit too much dancing around Baron.
Yeah, they had, at one point, I thought it was 5,000 or 6,000, and they made a really, really bad Baron play where, as we saw, Hai took about half his health and damage. Incarnation entered the fight at 1/3. They tunneled onto a Gnar who was hitting Mega and just lost the fight terribly. And it is kind of a series of either strategic or mechanical mistakes that Cloud9 has had throughout this series. Freak mentioned that Sneaky has really not outplayed a single CC the entire series, where that was pretty much something he did every single game.
Yeah, he's had games where he misses, just dodges everything, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's been something. But on the side of Gravity, right, this is now, in my opinion, when they have to change up, because it's literally, at this point, should be a rule of series. Unless you're beaten,
if you lose a game,
don't change things, and if you lose a game, it's on you to change. So now they have to counter what Cloud9 has just done.
Yeah, and I actually agree with that. And I think my opinion on best ofs is the players kind of play to the same level every single game, and you have to find, as a coach, a composition that fits how well everyone's playing and their tendencies. And so C9 have realized, hey, we're winning early game by passive farm. Let's turn that up to 10. Instead of Amumu, let's go Shyvana. And Mu is still not getting a lot of early ganks. He's still getting out-farmed now by much more. And now at 20 minutes, Shyvana is the highest gold in the game, which Hai can now use to abuse and do really cool things. And okay, they've realized, hey, Keen's getting out of position a lot, and every single game he's found some way to get out of position. Let's find more tools to engage with. Hey, that's still working. And so C9 have like slotted in these segments that are lining up with the strengths and weaknesses of the players, and they're like on a really good path to success. Gravity, all they've done is capitalize on C9 over-aggressing, and so C9 just stopped pushing so damn much.
Well, so Trashy, with this concept that Freak has thrown out there, what would you say, if you agree, what would you say on the side of Gravity are the things that they need to play towards, their strengths up against Cloud9?
I'm not sure if they can deal with the Shyvana pressure. What I would have liked earlier on was that we actually saw all lanes pushing up. Maybe try to punish that. I think there was definitely gank potential in the mid lane when Orianna was sitting at the enemy tower. Other than that, I think this is just Cloud9's way of saying, are we going to play Amumu the 2 first games and then troll a bit, and then this is our way back in the game. Let's pick Shyvana, and then
this is the beginning of the reverse sweep here. Well, you have to wonder too whether or not Shyvana will be available on the backside, because if you had such little success with Amumu, you come out with the Shyvana and play with so much more confidence. The easiest solution is just to get rid of it in this fourth game. Yeah.
Which would either enter Kalista, Fizz, or Zir. If any ban is dropped, it would have to be the Fizz.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I mean, Gravity's a team that let TSM play Olaf 3 times in a row. To be fair, they won one of those, so I mean, it worked, but like...
Yeah, and Cloud9 let the mid laner play Victor 3 times in a row. There's a pattern. This time it wasn't a sweep,
This time they did win, so they didn't pull a TSM in this one, but I wonder, right, like, how quickly they will tunnel in on picks, how quickly they will understand that maybe they can just outcomp it.
It's also very interesting that in this game that both AD carriers actually had engaged tools. It's not something you see very often. And maybe we will see a shift in that in terms of Gravity going away from the Ashe. Even though I think it has been working fairly well for them. We will see.
All right, well, Cloud9 have kept the series alive. We'll see if they can build on that win in Game 3, or Game 4 rather, against Gravity. Don't go anywhere.
They're going to try to jump in. Move picks it up with a big belly slam. And they're going to be able to get out here. Hanser, very low. Going to go down. And it looks like they are still fighting. That fight went so bad for them with the rotation of Incarnation from the mid lane.
Shyvana here, Shyvana here, Shyvana. Nice, I got already.
Okay, nice.
Going to keep themselves alive here. Zeroed out with the shockwave. The ball movement was not known. Cloud9 keeps the dream of worlds alive.